Factoring expressions for, remember, when we are factoring, we are just restructuring or rewriting a given expression. So let's use this new method. Let's make an x off to the side. We're going to take a times c, which is 24, and our middle term is a positive 10. Again, for those who can just do the mental math, please go ahead and do that. I am demonstrating if your number sense is not strong, how do you come up with this combination? So I'm dividing 24 by 1, and I know 1 and 24 is not 10. I divide it by 2, and I ask myself, is 2 and 12 10? And a lot of students will say yes. You'll say 2 and 12. Remember, I have to multiply to get a positive 24, so they both would have to be a positive, or both would have to be negative to achieve a positive 24. The only way these two numbers can achieve by combining a positive 10 is if they're different signs. 2 and 12 do not work. 6 and 4 work, and they're both positive. Off to the side, I write down 3x squared. I leave a line in a positive 8. By showing your work, I'm able to give you partial credit as you work through problems. What goes into the space? The 6 and the 4. Now, I've done something wrong if I stop right now. These two have to add up to a 10x. Don't forget your x. It's a common mistake. Even I have to be cognitive of it myself. Underline the first two terms. The most we're able to factor out would be a 3x, and I'm left with x plus 2. Now, how can I make sure this is right? 3 times 1 is 3, and I have x squared. 3 times 2 is 6, and I have an x, so 6x. In back, I write the x plus 2, and I ask myself, is there a number I can take times 1x to get 4x? I can. That number is 4. This multiplies by distributing to get 4x, confirmed. And 4 times 2 is positive 8. Now, what's in front is the x plus 2, and in back, they both have that in common. In front of the first parenthesis is a 3x, in front of the back parenthesis is a positive 4. Number 2, please make your x off to the side. Negative 3 times positive 8 is a negative 24. And my b is a negative 10. Again, awesome. If you know great number sense and you know this combination, then go ahead. I'm going to explain it as if somebody did not. Okay, so what multiplies to give us negative 24? So I divide 24 by 1. 1 and 24 do not combine to give you a negative 10. I divide it by 2. Ooh, 12 and 2 can give you a negative 10. They have to be different signs to achieve negative 24. And when they're different signs, the sign down here tells you the larger number has to be negative in this case. So I write down the problem, and in this open space, I'm going to put down positive 2x and negative 12x. Now, in this first group, what's the most that I can take out of a negative 3 and a positive 2? What's the most I can take out? Just an x, maybe? We could maybe take out a negative 1 if we wanted to. We'd be left with negative 3x plus 2. Now, let's make sure I didn't make a mistake. This would give you negative 3x squared plus 2x. I'm going to copy that number in back. So I took the same parenthesis and I copied it back. I'm going to put a little question mark here. What times 3x could give you negative 12x? Is that a positive 4 or a negative 4? Positive 4. Okay, multiplies to give you positive 12x. Got it? Multiplies to give you positive 8. Wonderful. Okay, so they both have the parentheses, negative 3x plus 2. In front of the first is an x. In front of the second is a positive 4. And we're done. Example number 3. Example number 3. So we have 9 times positive 4 is a positive 36. And our b term is a 12. And again, I'm grabbing the calculator, and if you know the number, awesome. I'm demonstrating how to get it. 1 and 36 is not 12. 36 divided by 2, 2 and 18 is not. 36 divided by 3, 3 and 12 is not 12. And I continue to work. 4 and 9 is close, but it's 13, not 12. Now, if we end up with a decimal, we don't consider it. 36 divided by 6 is, in fact, 6. So 6 and 6 is 12. So this is going to be positive 6 and positive 6. 9x squared, leaving it blank, plus 4. Now, in that open space, I'm going to show you a mistake. What is my mistake? X's. Okay, I underlined. The most I can take out is a 3x and I'm left with 3x plus 2. Now I'm going to take that off to the side and write 3x plus 2 with a little question mark. What times 3 gives you a positive 6? It'd be a positive 2. I got to make sure I did this right. I distribute to get 6x, good. Distribute to get positive 4, good. Now, in the front is a 3x plus 2. In the back is a 3x plus 2. 3x plus 2. Leaving it like this is not wrong, but when you have the same quantity, in this case twice, we can write it as 3x plus 2 quantity squared. So for this problem, I'm starting off by 2 times negative 12 is negative 24, combines to give you a positive 5. And now I'm looking for that combination. So I'm going to demonstrate how do you find the combination. 24 divided by 1 does not combine to give you a 5. Divided by 2 does not combine to give you 5. Divided by 3, ooh, I can get a 5 here. This tells me they have to be different signs, and the larger number is positive. Okay, I'm going to write down those two combinations. Now remember, here's the common mistake. Students forget to put an x here. These two have to combine to give you a 5x. Underlining the first two, I can factor out an x. 2x minus 3. Let's make sure I did it right. 2x squared minus 3x. Okay, let's go on to the next part. I'm going to write down what's in parentheses. What times 2x gives you a positive 8x? Positive 4. Positive 8x minus 12x. Okay, what do they both have in common? 2x minus 3. What's in front of the first? What's in front of the second? And done. Now, I do want to tell you that if you do not recognize that you can factor something out, you can still get the right answer. It's just a little more work. I recognize I can factor out a 3, and by doing so, it'll be a lot easier. Okay? But what if you did not recognize it? Can we still get the right answer? So in this problem, we're not going to factor anything out, and we're going to show how you can still get the right answer. So everybody make this little table. This may take us 3, 4, 5 minutes, but I want to show you how we can still get the right answer. Please take 18 times negative 12, please. 18 times negative 12. And write down your B value. I know the difference of two numbers because they're going to be different signs. One's positive and one's negative. They're going to be different signs to achieve a negative number when you multiply. And I also know, by the way, the larger of the two numbers is going to be negative. So here's how I'm thinking of this. Let's just choose a really easy number like 10. The difference of two numbers is going to be 10. So it's going to be 15. If I add 15 to 10, I get 25. Do you guys agree that 25 and 10, the difference is 15, right? Let's multiply them. The difference is 15. If I multiply them, I'm close, but I'm a little bit past 216. So let's bump down one. Instead of doing 10 and 25, which I just chose arbitrary, let's try 9 and 24. And then if that doesn't work, I'll try 8 and 23. Let's try 9 times 24. I got lucky. 9 and 24 work. Now, which one goes where? The larger of the two numbers has to be negative. So I come over here and I do 18x squared minus 12, and I have a plus 9x and a minus 24x. I'm going to underline the first two. The most I can take out of both of these is a 9 and an x. I'm left with 2x plus 1, and I'm going to slow it down. When I distribute, I multiply 18x squared plus 9x, okay? I rewrite this 2x plus 1, and I put a little question mark. What times 2 gives us a negative 24? Negative 12. So there's negative 24x. I achieved this term, and here is a negative 12 when I distribute. Okay, so I split the front and the back. They both have the parentheses 2x plus 1. In front of the first parenthesis is 9x. In front of the back parenthesis is negative 12. Nothing that I've done mathematically is wrong, but there is a mistake. In this parenthesis, what can I still factor out? A 3. So factored needs to be in simplest form. So I'm going to factor out a 3. And when I factor out a 3, I'm left with 3x. So divide this by 3 and divide this by 3. And then I'll put this factor second. It does not matter if I put 2x plus 1 first and 3x minus 4 second. Doesn't matter. This is my final answer. Now, I could have still achieved that Same answer if I would have divided by 3 first. So whether you divide out and recognize that there's a numerical value you can divide out, or at the very end you factor it out, you can achieve the same answer. Let's go on to the next one. Jarrell, I'm going to throw you on the spot. Are you ready? Forget about positive. Yes, you are. Forget about positives and negatives. 8, 46, and 30. They're all what type of number? Can anybody help them out? What type of number are they? Even. And what can you guys always divide out of even numbers? 2. So if there's a negative out front, let's divide it out to make our lives easier. Let's divide a negative 2 out. Okay, so I'm going to figure out what would go here. So I divide negative 8 divided by negative 2 is a 4. 46 divided by negative 2 is a negative 23. Negative 30 divided by negative 2 is a positive 15. If you're like, Miss Bradley, I have to use a calculator to do that? No shame, use a calculator. Now, this is the only trinomial I'm concerned about, so I make my x. 4 times 15 is positive 60, and my b value is negative 23. I want you to find this combination without talking, and I'm going to work through it as if you are somebody who struggles with number sense. So I focus on the top. I take 16 divided by 1. Is 1 and 60 achieve 23? Nope, won't work. So I divide 60 by 2. Does 2 and 30 achieve 23? Nope. 60 divided by 3. Does 3 and 23 achieve 23? I said it wrong. Does 3 and 20 achieve 23? They do. So I write down a 3 and a 20. Now, this says they have to be the same sign. So either they're both positive or both negative in order to multiply to give you a positive 60. This says they need to add up to be a negative 23. So they both need to be negative. Okay, I'm going to write this down. Okay, so I'm going to throw down the negative 3x and the negative 20x. Again, make sure you have an x. These two have to combine to give you a negative 23x. Okay, let's underline the first two. What's the most you can take out of 4x squared and a negative 3x? Only an x. You're left with 4x minus 3. I want to make sure I did the math right. Distribute 4x squared. Distribute negative 3x. Now take what's in parentheses and I'm going to write it down again and back. What times 4x gives you a negative 20x? Anybody? Negative 5. Let's make sure that worked. Is negative 5 times negative 3 a positive 15? It is. So we are just about done. They both have the parentheses 4x minus 3. It's called a factor. In front of the first is x. In front of the second is negative 5. Now, if I stop right now, who can tell me why am I wrong? Forgot about the 2. It's really common to miss that. One student just caught in here that I factored out a negative 2, but I forgot to carry the negative with us. So this should be a negative 2 out front. Okay, so I'm going to go through this last example, which is example 7. And I noticed that some students in class did not factor out a 2. And so I'm going to go through how we could still achieve the correct answer. So 24 times negative 10 is negative 240. And the b value is negative 22. I worked at it to find a combination that could achieve negative 240 by multiplying and combining negative 22. Okay, here we go. Let's factor out an 8x to get 3x plus 1. What times 3x is negative 30x? Negative 10. Okay, this works. Multiply, that works. Okay, so here we go. 3x plus 1 times 8x minus 10. Now, there's nothing I can factor out here, but I recognize that I can still factor out a 2 here. So I factor out a 2 to get x. 8 divided by 2 is 4 with an x. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So I factored out a 2 here, and then I bring down the other factor. How many of you did the opposite way but still got an answer of 4x minus 5 and another quantity 3x plus 1 with the 2 up front? Would anybody like me to factor out a 2 and show you how to do that? Quick hands up, hands up. Okay, here we go. I'm going to factor out a 2 to get 12x squared minus 11x minus 10. And then I'm going to say, and you guys are going to help me, 12 times negative 10 is what? Negative 120? Who can tell me what combination is quickly? Anybody?
Teacher is not 10.
Oh,
It's 5.
what did I do wrong?
You didn't divide the 10.
Oh, that makes a difference, sure does, doesn't it? It's a 60?
Yeah.
Thank you, Antonio. Okay, so this is going to be negative 60. So then I'm going to go with negative 15 and positive 4. How does that work? Better? Okay, so 2, I have 12x squared minus 5, and I'm going to write down negative 15x and positive 4x. The most I can factor out is a 3x, leaving me 4x minus 5. Make sure I don't make a mistake here. You've already caught 1. Positive 1 achieves this third term. Negative 5 achieves the last term. So we have 4x minus 5, 3x plus 1 in front of the first, in front of the second, and don't forget to bring down the positive 2.